Hi, hello, and welcome. Hi, my name is Amy Prokopis. If you are new here, sorry, I was a little bit behind schedule. I had to wrap up some other things, finish setting up. I was just running behind, but we are live now, and I am so excited that you guys are here with me. So, if you're new here, my name is Amy Prokopis. I am an indie author of 10 books. I write paranormal romance and romantasy, always with a little spice. Thanks for joining me. And I am live here on this YouTube channel every Sunday at 8:30 Central Standard Time. I am here in the Midwest. It has been a very snowy weekend, which is part of why I am also running a little behind and a little crazy, is because, yeah, things have just been a little wild. Let me know if everything looks okay, sounds okay on your end, double checking that. Um, I have my water here, make sure I'm moving everything around. I have coffee because I'm planning on writing really late. What is your setup tonight and what are you working on? I would love to know. Let's type that into the comments, shall we? What are you working on tonight? I am starting the night at, what is it? 54,398 words of my draft of Taming the Beast, which is my next book. It is the first in a duology I am planning on publishing coming in the summertime. So, first of the duology planning to be released in the summer. I am rapid releasing it. I've never done the rapid release strategy. I'm very excited. And they tie in really, really well into book three of the Curse of Wings series. So I am really looking forward to it. Um, Let me see. I wonder if, let's see. Sorry for that. I am going to try to get a different mic up and running. I have a much better microphone I would rather use. So let's see if I, there it is. Okay. Is this better? Can you guys hear me? Does this sound better? Let me take my earbuds out. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better on your end. Let me do my own little test here. And welcome. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better on your end. I think maybe that's a little better. Let me do my own little here. Okay. Oh my gosh. I have had this mic for a little while. It is now off screen. It is one of the blue Yeti microphones. I was gifted this by my amazing sister one year for Christmas, and I used it when I was doing some podcasting, and I haven't pulled it out in a little while because in my old teeny tiny office, I just didn't have the space for it. So now that we're moving into this new space, which is just a different room in my house, we moved things all kinds of around. I'm very excited. I am really excited to have a different space. I am still working on it, so I know the background's all wonky. There's wires everywhere. Things are still getting sorted. I'm gonna get a desk over here. There's actually a printer. There's a printer sitting right there, and I hate the way that looks in frames. And so I'm gonna get a desk instead because one, I like have cluttered this little desk in front of me and I just need more space. And I would really like to dedicate this little desk to more of a filming setup when I need that with all my lights and stuff, and keep this back here as a really nice, super cute little writing desk. So that is what I'm going to do. I am really excited. I'm also excited to get a proper comfy chair in here. Oh my goodness. So what is everybody working on tonight? All right. Hello, I am drafting tonight. I would love to know what you are drafting. I'm drafting Taming the Beast, which is a vampire romance. It'll be the spiciest one I have written. Curse of Wings is a spicy series, but this duology is definitely going to take the cake. This first book in the duology is already, I just wrote the spiciest scene I've ever written this week. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I'm really enjoying these characters. I just did a character profile graphic introducing the female main character, and I pushed it out to my Patreon members. It will eventually go onto my social media and be public, but Patreon members always get stuff first, and they always get kind of the messier behind the scenes before things are perfect. So that went up to Patreon today. So if you are a Patreon member, go check that. And if you're not, it is only $5 to join, and you can be a free member. And the free members every single week get a write up of my projects where everything is in the works, and that is not put out anywhere else. So you still get some exclusivity being a free member. So it's a lot of fun. Yes, love all your neon signs. Yes, thank you. They are my favorite. It has sort of become a part of my author brand, I think. Neon in general, at first it used to just be like the green, the dark green, and like the white neon, and that's still sort of the general branding that I utilize, but really just neon in general. I'm using a lot in graphics, regardless of the colors. Whatever just fits the vibe of the book or the project tends to be what gets the color. But neon is kind of my thing. I love it. It's just fun. Um, I'm working on the last book in an urban fantasy series. I love urban fantasy. That is sort of my bread and butter. This vampire romance, it's very much an urban fantasy. It's set within New York City. I did not intend on so many of my books being East Coast based. I've never been to the East Coast. I do have a very close friend of mine who also PAs for me. She's my personal assistant when I need a little extra help. She's wonderful. She's from the East Coast and grew up there. And so that's the most East Coast I have in my life. It's just a couple friends who've lived there for most of their lives. But I think we are visiting in the summer. So I think I'm finally getting my New York City trip, which is really funny because I've been writing Curse of Wings, which is New York area. And this series takes place within New York City for sure. So it's a long time coming that I am finally making my way up to the East Coast. So, all right. If you are new here, the way that the Write With Me live stream works, every Sunday, we hop on this live at 8:30 Central Standard Time, despite me being a little late tonight. And we do 3 sprints, or also called productivity sprints, which is where we set a timer for a specific amount of time, and that is focus time. And all you do is focus on the task at hand, which is writing for us, or for me. So we will do 3 rounds of that. They will be 25 minutes each. And in between, we will do a little bit of catch up, see how everyone is doing, where everyone has started, how far into our drafts and our work we have gotten, and maybe even provide some updates and answer questions about projects along the way. So it is a lot of fun. I miss doing these more regularly around the holiday season when I have more time off and I'm away for the holidays and with family. I'm not as consistent, and so it's been a little while since I've been able to come back to this, and I am so excited that we are going to get more consistent time again. So that's the gist of it. Hopefully, we were all going to get a ton of writing in. So we're going to move into the first of our 3 sprints here in a second. Don't forget, if you are new here and this is totally your vibe, I've got a lot of other videos and content. I post a vlog every single Sunday, which is just the details of like author life and planning, sometimes personal things throughout the week. That goes out on Sundays. And I also put out a more sit down style video where I talk about writing related things usually on Wednesdays. I am still getting back on a normal schedule from the holidays, so those videos have actually not really gone out until the end of the week or even Sundays along with the vlog, but I do post a ton of content here on YouTube. So if you are new, make sure to subscribe down below and make sure that you like this video because likes are free and they really help get videos and things out there so people can find their own tribe of fun writing related people. So definitely check that out below. All right, I think it is time that we move into, there it is, the first of our sprints. So I'm going to put this timer up here for 25 minutes. It's going to stay up there. And at the end of the sprint, it is going to beep and tell us all that time is up. I have one more thing I need to go and round up before I sit down and fully start into my draft. I'm dying to sit down and read, but I need to go and round up a few things around my house first before I get started. So I'm going to disappear from the frame here in just a second, but I am going to start the timer before I go. So here is the first 25 minutes of the night. Best of luck to all of you guys. 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right. It's in the middle of a sentence. That's the worst. It happens every time to me, though, in these live streams. Oh, it took a little bit to settle in. I was a little worried that it would take me longer since I had to do other things and then come back. And so I didn't have the full 25 minutes. I was a little worried it would take me a little bit longer to get back into the story. Um, I've also been moving a little slower this week. I did not write yesterday. I've been writing most every day this week, though, but all the write, and I guess I did write a little yesterday, but all the writing I've been doing has been really short bursts and it hasn't been super productive. So I have been looking forward to tonight, one, but also I was worried that it would take me a bit to settle into the story because sometimes when I'm writing at a slower pace like that, it just take it just like I don't know. It just makes it harder to get into the whole story and then I feel like I'm not moving very quickly. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. Um, but anyway, I was starting the night at 54,398 words, and I finished sprint number one. Let me see, 54,938. So that's what I did in sprint number one. Hopefully, you guys did a little bit more than I did. I went through my outline, moved some things around, ended up writing 236 words. That is great, especially considering you were going through your outline and stuff too. Um, are you a planner? Do you plot out all of your stories? I fall a little bit in the middle. I would consider myself a planter. I pants a lot of my drafts and I definitely let myself stray. I definitely let myself stray from the outline. I actually like to stray from the outline because usually it's because I found something better that I've built onto the outline. Um, and so I'm a planter. My entire life of writing, I've been a pantser. I've just sat down and written the book and I had it loosely outlined in my brain. And after starting publishing, I've started to outline more because it definitely makes things less messy and streamlines the production phase, so the whole editing and that side of things. So now I am a little bit more in the middle. I give myself a loose outline. I do I think it's Dan Brown's 7-point plot method. I have a video here on YouTube kind of going through how to do that. And I do bare bones outlines. So I do like a couple sentences for all seven of the plot points, and then everything in between, all the details and stuff. I might have a few notes here and there, like the scene happens about here. But other than that, I let myself just kind of go with it. And when I sit down to draft, that's usually all I start with is just this really loose outline. I love it. Oh, it sounds like you do the same thing. I have a very loose outline to help me keep the end in sight. That's basically all I do too. Mostly I was going through it to find a scene or two to work on tonight. Ah, that sounds great. Um, I am, for the most part, the type of person who writes everything consecutively. Occasionally, there are some really big scenes or some really big moments that I just know need to be in the story or I really want to include, and I get excited about that. And so it's really just for my own fun. I'll sit down and write out those scenes, and I usually rewrite and rewrite them just because they're fun. And so I have a few of those tucked away that I know I will come back to, and it will probably not be a copy paste situation at all when they actually make their way into the draft. But those moments definitely make their way in a similar-ish format. So I do end up copy pasting certain sections of it. Um, but that's the most I do writing out of order as far as like scene work and stuff. Mostly I write beginning to end. Um, sometimes I miss writing shorter scenes like that. Takes me back to my college days when I every semester would have a short, usually it was a short story course of some kind, and I would write like a short story a week. Uh, really, I think a lot of the classes it was more like every other week because one week would be coursework, like reading stuff, and we would be drafting in our own time. And then the next week it would be in class critiques. It was probably like every other week that I was writing short stories. And sometimes I miss that because there is such a different art and craft to writing a really good short story, something that really compels the readers, that is no more than like 10 pages. That is a true art form. And I kind of miss doing that. Um, Maybe I'll get back to that. I may still have some of my old college short stories. I think it would be fun to put them on Patreon. Maybe I'll go and find them. We weren't allowed to write genre in most of those classes. There was one genre class, and I did not get to take it. I don't remember why I didn't get to take it, but I, yeah, we didn't get to write genre. So everything I wrote was just ma mostly like mainstream fiction. No, no magic allowed. Oh, very smart to write literally. Started writing random scenes for this draft, and now it's a mess. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with either method. And I think sometimes a story lends itself really well to being written in those shorter scenes because I think depending on your story structure and the story you're telling, sometimes it can provide a lot of insight to write it out of order. I'm thinking a lot like in dual POV, sometimes writing a good chunk of the book from one person's perspective and then interjecting the other person's perspective really makes it a lot easier for you to interject certain feelings that the character has that are really important that they wouldn't have insight to or privy to that other person's perspective. And so it can really enhance that, I think. Oh, I guess I did kind of do that in my very first book that I ever published, The Arena. It is my one and only science fiction book. It's somewhere back there. Oh, it's this one. This that one. The Arena. It was originally told from one perspective, but when I got to the third half of the book and one of the great big plot points happened, by that point I was so invested in um, some details that I could not explore them. And in order to explore them best, I came up with this idea that it would be a lot more interesting and interactive to see them from a different person's perspective. I was just like, there's this entire other story happening, and it would be so much better if we could see that other story happening because it would just make this person's adventure so much deeper and more important. And so I did that, and it meant I had to completely scrap the last half of my outline because now the book was longer in some ways because now I had told so I went on a side quest, literally went on a side quest, so I could interject this other point of view, and it was a lot of fun. Some of my readers, actually, there's kind of, I would say among Amy Prokopis readers, there's kind of like a cult following for that book. And I have a couple people that are very much asking for the sequel, and I love those characters in that story so much, and I think it would be really fun to return to it. I think it would be a really strange decision though at this point because I write so much more paranormal romance and romantasy. I think it'd be kind of a strange jump to go back to sci-fi, but it is really fun. And I did actually start the drafted book too, so I don't know, maybe it's something that I could return to in the future and make it more of like a since I do have such a like the OG Amy Prokopis fans really liked that book. Maybe I could make it a Patreon thing since a lot of them are also ingrained in my community on Patreon. So I don't know, maybe I'll bring it to Patreon for them so that we can all scratch that little itch and not put it on my backlist for like the mainstream world of writing for me. Okay, we need to move on to second sprint. We'll do another 25 minutes. Don't forget to like below. Check out the links in the description box. Also, if you haven't, I am super active. I don't know what I was going to say. Super active on social media, predominantly on Instagram. I'd say that is where you're going to engage the most with me. I am also on TikTok. I'm very much on TikTok. Although with the recent change in ownership, I don't know about you guys, but my TikTok has not been working. I actually posted 3 times to my main account today, and it shows up on my main feed on my account as I'm viewing it with 0 views. I went to my other accounts because I do have multiple accounts. And you can't see any of the stuff I've posted recently. It's like I've never posted. And I tried doing the same thing with my other accounts, posting content, and then went to see if I could see it from a different account, and I couldn't see it either. So something weird's happening over there. I keep getting a message that I don't have Wi-Fi, but all of my other apps and internet and stuff functions perfectly fine. But TikTok says I don't have internet to use it. I don't. I don't know. I also don't know with the future of TikTok and then the change. And I think that I've watched some other videos online where people have been able to on the fly get some TikTok documents, talk with people who worked there, and I'm hearing a lot of things like they're going towards like a lot of AI for some of the operations. And so their algorithm is kind of freaking out and flagging stuff that doesn't need to be flagged because AI is not perfect. Um, and it doesn't get context. And so it's just pulling data without context and flagging stuff and suppressing. And so I don't know that TikTok, even though it is still where most of my readers find my books and heavily contributes to my sales on the daily, I don't think it's a sustainable long-term marketing venture for me. And so I am trying to get a lot better at growth strategies and SEO on Instagram. Instagram in general has just been a slow growth for me, but it is where you will find me the most. That was a whole tangent. I could go on and on. I actually should put together more information because at the top of every month, I am doing a marketing series. So if you are an author and that kind of sounded interesting and you didn't tune out when I talked about that, I'm going to put together more of those details. And at the first of every month, I'm doing marketing planning for myself. So if you're curious what I'm doing and would like to see what I can find information wise, I'm not very savvy at it, to be entirely honest. I'm learning, but I love to share what I have learned and learn from you guys in the comments. So if that's interesting, I'm doing that at the first of every month here on YouTube. So we need to start moving into the second sprint. I have to wrap up one more thing with my kiddo for the night, actually, before I come back. So I will also have to pop out again. Um, can't speak for TikTok. Most of my followers are on Instagram. I would say most of my close community is Instagram. Um, I've definitely got some very kind followers over there, some very supportive readers. That is, I would say, if I wanted to talk about support, I am shown more support on my Instagram than anywhere. My reach is just larger on TikTok just because of the way their algorithm works. But I would love to better my reach there. Yes, I saw that one. Bethany Ansazada's video where Pinterest is marking her post as AI. Yes, I don't use Pinterest. Um, Even when Pinterest kind of first popped up on the market, I just couldn't, I've never been super savvy with technology and I didn't find it very intuitive. And at least for me, I was never that girl to like collect aesthetic images for any particular reason. And even now, still, I don't really vision board for characters and stuff. So Pinterest was never really my thing. But I do know that there are authors that actually have a lot of success using Pinterest to market their books. And that is fascinating to me. But I did see her video where she had to reach out to somebody from Pinterest personally to have them go and unmark it. That's crazy. There's a whole lot of stuff with social media right now. It's a little wild. I feel like everybody's kind of fine-tuning their algorithms and changing things around right now because of the just the way things are going right now. Okay, we are moving into the second sprint. So this is 2-3. We're going to do another 25 minutes. I will put that on the screen and then I'm going to have to pop out real quick. Hopefully it'll be quicker this time. So 25 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, sprint. Okay, and to wrap things up that time around, that was a much more successful writing session. I am now at 55,307 words. I'm feeling really good. I'm really settling into the scene. There's a lot, gosh, I was in between things for a little bit, in between one big plot point in the next, and I think that's part of why I was such a slow crawl this week. So I'm really excited that I have just reached the next really big scene. Oh my gosh. So thank goodness. Um, yeah, so I am really pleased with the work I got done during that sprint. Hopefully it was a good one for you guys too. I got 453 words that sprint. That is awesome. We are all trending upwards. So far, we have all been able to accomplish a lot more with each writing session this evening, which has been amazing. We have one more sprint left. I think now in between would be kind of a good time to sort of wrap our heads around some things coming up for the week. I don't know what things are like in your area. I do live here in the Midwest of the US, and anytime we get winter weather, a lot of times it is not great. I live on the plains, and in true plains fashion, as the song goes, the wind whips through the plains, and the wind chill is always what does it for us. So we have all kind of like hunkered down around here where I am. So we stayed pretty much at home all weekend, prepping for maybe being snowed in a couple extra. It's never the snow that gets us on the plains. I know, like, I don't live in an area where we get a lot of snow, and so it's who am I to say, right? But here on the plains, the issue is that we get snow, but the ground a lot of times because it doesn't get because we don't get a ton of snow, the ground is often not super cold. And so the problem here is that we'll get snow, but the ground will be warm enough, it will melt. But because we have this crazy wind here on the plains and no trees to block it, the winter air will be a great deal colder than the ground and the rest of the temperature, and the wind chill will freeze any moisture. So we don't usually get a lot of snow, but we get a ton of ice. And so we've all been kind of planning for the days ahead, maybe being stuck at home a little longer. So as far as planning ahead and wrapping my head around the week, I am working from home tomorrow. I won't be going in, and school is called off for tomorrow. So my husband works as a principal, so he is home tomorrow, and so is our kiddo. So it is another full house for us, but the schedule will be very different because I will be working tomorrow from my office. So a bit different. Yeah, it's just been really cold around here. This time around, the snow hasn't been too bad, so it's been kind of a nice snow. It is cold for me this weekend too. It's been very nice this winter, otherwise, mostly above average, high low temps. That is the same where we are. We've actually had some surprisingly warm days. So this is the first week we've really had this kind of bitter cold. Um, and yeah, we were kind of surprised. We got about 9 inches of snow, I think, yesterday and late into the night. I think that was the total, and I don't think we're expected to get a lot more. So that may be the end of it for our winter here. And it was really nice snow. A lot of times we get kind of that gross, real like compact snow that just kind of like melts off and gets gross in the gutter. But it was beautiful, like really fine super pretty snow. Um, yeah, it's been actually really nice. And I've heard that some of the roads are bad just because things have like compacted and melted a little bit in some of the major street sections. But for the most part, I think the reason why school is off is because since we don't get a lot of snow, a lot of the towns around here, especially smaller ones, don't invest in a lot of like snow plowing equipment. So we don't actually have very many snow plows. We have salt trucks, but we don't have a lot of like that other stuff to like efficiently take care of problems. And so when we do get snow, we can't clear it out quickly enough. And so that's really the big thing. And the really the biggest reason for school closures and stuff tomorrow is just they need a little more time to take care of the snow. So hopefully it won't be too crazy being working at home because I am still hoping to be able to write in between stuff like normal. I am going to try my best tomorrow. My plan is to stick to my normal work schedule. So I will get up like normal, do my morning writing session like normal because that is becoming a really nice routine, which has surprised me because I've always been a night writer, but having a little bit of time in the morning has been very nice. Um, and I don't think I'll be working at home very long this week. And so then we'll be back on a normal schedule. And I'm hoping to really get back on schedule and write as much as I can. I don't think I'll finish this book at the end of the week like I wanted to before February, but I want to get through the next couple big plot points so that after this week and the first part of February, I'm just cruising to the end of this book because I should be very, very close by that point. So that is my plan, writing wise, for this week. And other than that, the only larger task that actually isn't that large anymore on my to-do list is finally getting my ebooks uploaded to Draft to Digital so that I can enable library distribution. I already did a lot of setup today. I'm waiting on my account to like be fully activated so that I can finalize things, but I was able to upload two of my books today. They just are not enabled yet for distribution, but it said it will automatically do that once payment information and account things gets verified for me. The system will automatically activate those books, and then I just need to upload the rest of them. I've been very pleased with the process. It's actually very streamlined, super user friendly, and not nearly as techy in appearance as some other systems like Ingram Spark. So yes, I'm very, very excited to get my books available into libraries. I consistently get more words at night, so definitely a night writer. Morning, yeah, morning writing is like pulling teeth for me. I cannot wake up and write just like normally. If the reason I was waking up in the morning was to do writing, I would not do it. I would much rather stay up late, and that's still the case. But the way my work schedule is, I have an hour between dropping my son off at school and before my first client of the day. And so I have an entire hour of what I could do prep, but instead I kick off the day with writing, and it has been so nice. Really just sets the tone for the entire day. It's a little bit of self-care, something I really like to do, and releases creative energy. And so it makes it easier to just get started throughout the day. And I get to sit and enjoy my coffee and kind of slowly get ready for the day. So I just really like it. And I think also being the very first part of the day, and I still do some night writing. I just don't do as late of a session as I used to. So there is nothing, it's working out super well that the last thing I do before I go to bed is write. And so the story is fresh in my head when I wake up in the morning. It's really nice. So yeah, I think now is a really good time to move into our final sprint of the night. We will do one more 25-minute sprint. Make sure that you are subscribed in case you don't want to miss anything. I do have a newsletter on amyprokopis.com, my website. Make sure that you're following me on social media because I am very active there. You'll actually get more information from my social media and you'll get more in-depth information from Patreon. So I've got a lot of different avenues to connect with me, but I would love to hear from you. I try to reach out anytime people follow me online. I try to send a message just to connect and how everyone's doing. So that's all for me for now. Let's kick off with the last 25 minutes, see how much we can get done, and I will see you guys at the end to wrap everything up. So here's to the final sprint in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Sorry, guys. The timer, for whatever reason, was muted. I don't know what happened. I have an idea. Some of my equipment went out on me and I had to swap it, which is okay. But I think it muted for some reason the timer. I don't know. So hopefully, hopefully all of you guys are going to have a great week. I think it's going to be a great week. I always love these live streams. They are my favorite way just to kick off the week, really help settle into a good routine. And I got a lot done. So I finished the night at 56,093 words. So I wrote almost 2,000, I think, words for the night, which is amazing. I am not going to stay up much later. I'm going to finish this scene. I'm right at the end of the chapter, so I'm going to finish the chapter and then I am heading to bed and we will start the routine all over in the morning with morning writing sprints. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. 423 words, that sprint, that is awesome. Thank you for hosting. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I have missed doing this, the live streams. I'm excited to be back more regularly. I love them. Definitely keeps me more on track. It's just really fun to co-work also. I think writing can be really solitary sometimes, and so it just means a lot to make it not so solitary sometimes. So thank you guys. That is pretty much it for the night. Make sure to like the stream because it really does help people discover this community. I think it would be amazing to grow it and to share more of my writing and just this amazing community I've built with more people. So definitely like below and follow me on social media if you don't already. And I hope you have a great week. Thanks for joining me. Read books, be kind. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.